Sup guys, widdz here. Thought I would talk a bit about the state of the game that they had today. So first of all, as most of you guys know, they delayed the PTS because when we, the Elite Task Force, played, they realized that they wanted to add more specific features to the PTS build so they would be able to get more and better feedback. So all in all, I still think it's good that they are not pushing it too much because they still have a lot of time to do it, so it will just be better for everyone in the long run. And just because the PTS is delayed doesn't mean like 1.4 is delayed. 1.4 is still gonna be released in October and the PTS is planned to come next week, but they are not 100% sure yet. So one of the bigger problems that they talked about today was time to kill and time to be killed. So they really wanted to fix that before going on with more content. So they collected data and they checked the difference. Hopefully I can get a picture up here so you can see it. So the graph actually goes quite linear until you hit level 30 and the end game comes. Then the NPCs just go out of the roof and they become the bullet spongy enemies that deals us insane amount of damage, which then forces us to use certain skills and gear builds. So there's not really any gear build diversity or skill diversity, which RPG needs to have. Like, that's one of the most important things, right? So if you would not have the optimized build or the right skills or the right gear sets, then the content is super hard. And if you don't know about like all that, if you just play the game, like there's no way you can play this game without going to Reddit or to YouTube or check videos, right? Because you need to know about the armor cap, you need to know about smart cover, you need to know about sentry. If you don't know about those things, then you're quite screwed. So they also checked like where does the damage come from, and they checked the gear mods in particular. At level 12, mods help you with 6% to the damage. That's not too much, right? But at level 30, they would actually be 40% to the damage would come from the mods, which is a super high number. And that's also a low number because it does not include weapon mods. And at level 30, skills would increase the damage with 78%, which mainly comes from pulse and smart cover, which is insane, right? But yeah, that's something most of you guys knows. The NPCs and difficult scaling at the moment is currently balanced around max smart cover and strong pulses. That's why the NPCs hit so hard and why they are so tanky. And the difference between the best build and like average player's build are super huge. Smart cover and pulse are the most used skills. No surprise there, right? Because they are so strong. So what they want to do in 1.4 is to fix the enemy health and damage after level 30. Like the end game, they want it to be linear and not exponential. So they talked about time to kill and time to be killed. That's something they think is critical. Like in the current state of the game, the NPCs just deal way too much damage and they tank way too much. So in 1.4, they're gonna fix the enemy health and damage after level 30, because 1 to 30 it's actually really good, but after 30 it just skyrockets up. So time to be killed in comparison, time to be killed by a standard Riker is currently 2.1 seconds, but in 1.4 it's gonna be 6 seconds. And the time to kill with an unoptimized build, unmodded ACR, it took 3.8 seconds to kill a Riker, and in 1.4 it's gonna be 2.1. So that's a lot as well. And since they deal less, since the NPCs are gonna deal less damage, you're gonna have more uptime shooting, right? So even if it doesn't seem too high, it's actually a really high difference. So one of the new things that they talked about is the world level. So players can now actually select the world level when they hit 30. So you hit 30 and you can choose the tier. Of course, since you're only 30, you can't choose tier 2 because you have to reach the gear score that's needed for tier 2, right? However, if you have a friend, he could power level you, so he could just invite you and you could play on tier 4. And the difference between the tiers, like tier 1 is level 30 enemies, tier 2 31, tier 3 32, tier 4 33. And let's say you just got to 30, you will face level 30 enemies, right? The drops will always be 163 with a chance to get 182, but they are rare, right? They're not gonna drop often, but there's still a chance. To do the tier 2, you need 163 gear score. So it's gonna be way easier to do this compared to before, because you're always gonna have the gear that's needed to do the current missions, right? Before, like at the moment, it's not like that, because the gear you need to do like the incursion, for example, drops from the incursion. But here you're gonna get it in the same tier. You're gonna get it before you even start it, right? So yeah, you can choose the world level. Let's say you gear up and you get like 204. So you play tier 3, level 32 enemies. Then you'll be like, oh, I don't want to play this, I want to play some easier content. Then you can just go back to tier 2. The loot is gonna be worse, of course, but there's still possibility to get the 204s, like the higher loot, right? Then you could actually farm the 182 and try to optimize your build more. Then you go back to the higher tier and you will have an easier time. Since they fixed the world level, the named roamers are back. So Bullet King is back, guys. So you can actually farm the PvE world. And they took away the level 34 and 35 NPCs. The highest will be 33. And don't think about the NPCs how they are at the moment. Like the current 33 NPCs are not gonna be the same in 1.4, right? Because there's rescaling and everything. So, and of course with the level, the world level, it affects everything, but Dark Zone you can't change, so you can't abuse Dark Zone with it. So don't be scared about that. So world level will affect missions, open world, incursion, underground. So open world will be farmable. And another change that they did is that all the NPCs have a chance to drop high ends and gear sets, which means just like a purple mob or just any mob can drop the best loot for your world level. I think that's a really good change. Sometimes you feel like, oh, why do I want to kill this NPC? It's like the purple one, because they will never drop anything, but now they have a small chance. So just as they did in the 1 to 30 experience. Before, challenge mode was scaled to 4 players. Now it's not, so you can actually solo it way easier now. And they actually fixed the AI a bit, so elite NPCs are now smarter than before. So it's not that bullet sponge feeling. It's gonna feel more like a shooter, and it's gonna be more tactical. And as I said before, heroic will only be available for incursions. The difficulty, this is really important. You have the world level, right? The world level sets the enemy level. And the difficulty, normal, hard, challenge or heroic, will increase the amount of NPCs and the difficulty of them, but they won't change the health or damage, right? So it will make the mission or underground harder with more NPCs, smarter move, smarter AIs, and since it's harder, you will get more loot. It's still gonna be the same gear score, but you're gonna get more of it. So if you are a really good player, you could do challenge, or you could do like challenge, for example, and you would get more loot than someone that plays it on normal. Like for the better player, it's gonna be more efficient, but they are not gonna get better loot. So I think that's a really good change as well. And they changed the gear score. So currently we have 268 of the gear sets, right? They will actually now be 229, just to make it easier. And high-end items will be better now as well, since they have the same gear score. They will be more relevant, because before gear set had higher stats than high-ends, right? That's not gonna be the case anymore. When you matchmake, you will matchmake with people on your world level, right? If you are in tier 2 and you matchmake, you will only matchmake with people in tier 2. As I said before, you can still play with friends that are higher tier, that are on a higher world level than you. As long as they invite you, it's fine. They can power level you, for example. And you could also join players in a lower, so it works both ways. But of course that doesn't apply to Dark Zone, because Dark Zone selects the world level for you, and there's no changes to Dark Zone at the moment I mean, the PvP is gonna change with all these changes, but it's gonna be the same rules, the same Wild West, right? But I think with 1.4, now with the open world, when that's gonna be farmable, since the like Bullet King and all those are back, I still think PvE players should be really satisfied. You're not gonna be forced to go to Dark Zone. I think in the current state of the game, you're not forced to go to Dark Zone either, but it's even gonna be better in 1.4. And just some small things that I didn't talk about instead of the game, but that they said before. Just some small quality of life things. For example, Falcon Lost is gonna get checkpoints, which is so nice to hear, because wiping on like wave 14 or 15, it's so annoying. You get so frustrated. And when you restock, your weapon is actually gonna be fully reloaded. Like sometimes you have 15 bullets and you can't reload it because you're in the checkpoint, but now it's gonna get like the maximum amount of bullets when you restock. But yeah, that's it. I'm super excited for these changes. I hope you guys are as well. Would be interesting to hear what your thoughts about the changes in the comment section. But just telling you guys, this is only one thing. This is not everything about 1.4. This is just one thing. It's a big thing though, right? But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and you should go and watch the state of the game as well, because it was 1 hour long. I just wanted to do a quick video and like chill about some of the things, but you should watch the state of the games for more details. But yeah, thanks for watching guys. Have a nice day. Peace.